Hello and welcome to my channel and the Lina Knits podcast, my podcast about knitting, finding joy in every stitch and getting cozy in your hand knits. This is episode 65 and I am Lina and I'm coming to you from my home in Helsinki, Finland. I'm a knitwear designer, a tech editor, and also otherwise assist other woolly entrepreneurs. You can find where to find me online in the description box below and also at the end of the video. I'm Lina Knits on most places and you can find everything you need to know on my website linaknits.com. Today is December the 28th, a Friday between Christmas and New Year, and I thought this would be a fine time to do a podcast episode looking back to the year that's almost passed. So I'll look back at 2018 and what I knitted. But before we get into that reminiscent part, I do have some knitting to share with you that's current. So new finished objects, a half finished object, and some progress on some of my whips. So without further ado, let's go with the one fully finished object. Well, it's not blocked, so I don't know if it can be said fully finished, but it is the pair of Gryffindor house socks that I knit for my son for Christmas. And so these haven't been blocked, and I don't have sock blockers that will accommodate them. My son's foot is almost as long as mine, but since he is only 9, it's not as wide yet. So they look maybe a bit funny, but that's his foot. He tried these on and they fit him just perfectly. So the yarn that I used is a self-striping yarn by London House Yarn, or London House Yarns, and I think it was just called Gryffindor. But yeah, so it's the house colors, and it comes with two closely, or when you start knitting it, it has two yellow stripes quite close to each other and a larger block of red dividing them. But I did a heel flap and gusset construction, so because of that, and the striping is a bit distorted on the heel part or around the heel. I did have a skein of just the red, a mini skein of the red to do the cuff and toes, and I could have used that for the heel as well, but I wasn't sure I would have enough, so just kept on going with the striped yarn. And also I think this is the one I knit first. So once I'd gotten to the toe section and switched over the red one, I just continued knitting the other one. I didn't look for a similar place, so I should have skipped these two and just begun knitting the cuff from here. But I didn't want to do that, so they're not exactly matchy. I don't mind. My son didn't mind. So they are what they are. But I'm just glad that he now has a pair of socks that fit him. He's been using his old socks so far this winter, and they're maybe this length, so they're quite stretched when he puts them on. So now hopefully these will last for this year, maybe next year as well. So that was one of the presents that I wrapped for him. Then onto my half finished object, which is this. It's a mitt, and this I knit for my partner. This is my own pattern. It's the Ordinary Magic mitts, and I'm knitting the larger size for him. And as you can see, that I could wear these too, but again they have ribbing at the side, so they're really stretchy. Yeah, so this was his Christmas gift, but I didn't have time to knit the other one. Well, he was home most evenings, so I didn't really have opportunities to knit it. So I just knit the one and wrapped it. Again, this is not blocked, and I also made a mistake in the pattern. There is how it's supposed to go. So once the cables are joined in the middle, you do a stockinette block, but this one's missing them. I was knitting from my own pattern. I thought I knew what I'd written, so I skipped that. But yeah, I was up to here when I noticed that, so I didn't rip back. Otherwise he would have gotten half of one mitt for Christmas. So I'm gonna knit the second one soon and then block these. He mentioned a while ago that he wanted a pair of mitts, or he would like to have a pair of mitts to wear at work when he has to be sitting down at a computer for longer periods of time. His hands get cold, so this is meant to be for that. And the yarn that I'm using for these is a skein of DK I had in my stash that was not too girly. And yeah, so this is Madeline Tosh Twist DK in the Annex colorway, and I had one skein left over after I knit myself the Morganite cardigan, I think last year. So if you go back, way back in the episodes, you'll see it. But yeah, so I had that one skein left over, so it's been knit into a pair of mitts for him. Last episode, I started a bunch of things. I started the leg warmers that I also finished and gave to my friend, who, by the way, loved them, which made me so happy. It's always a bit of a risk to knit a gift to someone who hasn't expressly said that that's something they love. Now, the mitts my partner had mentioned, and my son loves it when I give him knitted gifts. So he doesn't necessarily wear them that much, but he loves getting them. So those were safe bets. Now, my friend had mentioned a year ago that she'd like leg warmers, so, but yeah, I was really happy that she seemed to like them. And then I'd started the Rambling Woman cardigan, and then I haven't worked on it at all. I just felt so guilty starting that with all my other whips, so I haven't touched it, but instead I've worked on those previous whips, including my Trace the Sweater. And this is now at the point, I think I need to double check the measurements, but I think I'm now at the point where I can start knitting the colorwork band at the hem, and then it's on to the sleeves. So yeah, made quite nice progress on this. So I started this autumn wanting to wear it for outdoor walks in the autumn and winter, and now we are like in the middle of winter. Well, not in the middle, in the beginning of winter, and it's still here, so I guess I need to really get a move on. Plus I really do enjoy knitting this. So the yarns that I'm using for that are Let Lopi by Istex. And yeah, the tags are all loose here, but if you're interested in the colorways or the colorway numbers, you can find them on my Ravelry page. I'm pretty sure I've listed what numbers I'm using. But it's this brownish green. I can give you that one because I still have full. No, that's not it. So I still have full bands of it, or balls of it. So the background or the main color is 1420, and the other ones is a very pale gray, like almost a black, brownish gray, and a green. I know there are many different greens, so that doesn't really help you. But I love this. I don't know, the yarn is really woolly and kind of toothy, but at the same time really soft, and I love this. I cannot wait to wear this. I haven't tried it on. I know that when you knit top-down raglan shirts or sweaters, one of the benefits is that it's easy to try on. But since I put my sleeve stitches on these stitch holders, I cannot fit my arm through them. So if I wanted to try this on, I'd need to put those on a cable needle or just a cable. And I can't be bothered. I think the fit is right. I want it to be, oh, whoops. Crisis averted. Yeah, one of the stitch holders came open and I dropped stitches. Yeah, I want this to be kind of loose so I can layer under it, but not too loose so I can also layer over it. But yeah, so this has been seeing the light of day again. I'm still very much in love with that. And then for the Sunday before Christmas Eve through to Christmas Day, we were at my parents' house, and I wanted to take something small and portable as my project, and this is it. And this holds a very old whip from last December, and it is the pair of knee-high scrappy socks. So the first one was finished last December, and the second one is here. Now, I know it still looks like I haven't done anything, but I was like not even done with the heel. So this is how much I knit during Christmas. So this is made with minis that I got in a sort of advent calendar mini swap. It was organized by a Finnish, or in a Finnish knitting group on Ravelry, and I sent 6 minis to 4 different people, and I got 6 minis from 4 different people, and they were labeled from 1 to 24, and I opened one each day. And this one I worked, this was the first yarn, this was the second, this was the third, fourth, and so on. So this is 1 to 12. But then I think I got like the toe done or something, and then I just didn't touch it. But I did open all the minis then. And now that I picked it back up, I really don't remember what came from what day. So they're just all, this is what I still have that I haven't touched. So they all are just bunched in the back here. And I've just been picking one at random and putting it here. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm now doing the 7th and 6th color. And I need to start doing increases for the cob soon. But yes, I'm happy that I'm knitting on this again, and I was quite surprised how much. I think I did most of this on Christmas Eve, so I'm really surprised how fast it goes, and I cannot think why I stopped knitting on this, but I'm trying to finish it. Maybe not this year, but again, sooner than next Christmas, definitely. Then I don't have to feel guilty about starting new things. Again, I don't knit on things out of obligation. I do want to enjoy them, and if something doesn't bring me joy when I'm knitting it, I don't knit it. So I need to either frog it, or sometimes putting something aside for a while helps, but if it drags on for years and years, I'm not. Something's up. But this did bring me joy, so I'm gonna continue. And I do want to wear these socks again. Perfect for winter. Hello, that's the season we're in. So wish me luck. And then I've been knitting on a new design. So this is not finished yet, but I'm gonna share it with you anyway because I'm really loving it. So it's going to be a giant winter shawl with bubbles. Yes. So that's your sneak peek of that. But the yarn that I'm using is the Rerum Naturals Gilead. And I'm just going with the plain natural white. I can't remember the name right now. I won't guess. I'll let you know once I move on. But this is the second ball, and I've got 4 in total, but I think I will use 3. Gilead is, it's worsted weight wool, but it has quite a lot of yardage. So I think 100 grams is 250 meters, so that's quite a lot. So 3 should be enough for a really nice snuggly shawl. I've done all the calculations. I know how I want the shawl to look. Now I just need to knit it. But yeah, really enjoying it. Oh, can't get it in here. I'm gonna do it later. Now on to the year in review section. So in 2018, according to Ravelry, I've completed 23 projects, but I know I haven't listed all. Like, these socks aren't in there. Neither of the socks that I've knit for my grandmother are in there. So that brings the total up to 26. And I'm quite positive there's something else that's missing as well. So 26 to 30 finished objects. 15 of those are my own designs, because I do, well, I knit them, so I put them in as a project. So 15, no, I lost my numbers. 12 to 15 has been something else than my own projects. I would love to knit more of other people's projects, but I guess I've just got to face it. I don't have the time for everything, because knitting is, well, it's my main hobby. I do also do other things like sew and cross stitch and read books. And I know some people read books and knit at the same time, but I haven't mastered that skill yet, and I'm sort of quite happy to keep them separate. I knit quite a lot as it is. But yeah, so 15 patterns released in a year. I think that's, I'm happy with that number, definitely. Let's see if I can keep it up next year. I have planned out what to release when, because I do have a lot of ideas. But I also know that these plans change, and sometimes things don't work out and they need to be changed. And new ideas will probably enter my mind as well. So I'm not even going to try to guess how many patterns, but I do aim for 1 a month. So this year there have been more, and that's been because not everything has been self-published. So one self-published pattern a month, and then maybe something else if I have the time, or like if something is coming out with someone else, if I have the time, I will also self-publish that month. But yes, and out of those projects, it seems I've knit 3 sweaters this year, and I think that's too little. Like, I don't need a huge amount of clothes, but I think sweater knitting is something that's bringing me the most joy at the moment. And I quite like it that they take time. I don't need to have a finish every week to feel satisfied as a knitter. So I think next year there might be even less finished objects, but hopefully more of those will be sweaters. Yeah, so 3 sweaters with like full length sleeves, or well, almost full length sleeves, and then 2 summer tops, which is the thing that this year has surprised me the most, because I haven't knit with other than wool yarn in the past without any success, and now I knit two, the 1 cotton top and then 1 linen top. I didn't get to wear them this summer, but maybe next summer, who knows. Anyway, they were knit, I was happy with them. I'm not afraid to try knitting more, though I do need to make sure I actually wear what I knit with those. Actually, I just realized that not all of my my own design knitting has been entered into Ravelry. I did those 2 shawls for the woven, and I never made a project page for them. And so now I lost count of how many projects that is. So it's 26, that's 28. Yeah. So 28 to, again, adding a couple that I've probably forgotten to add, so 28 to 32. And yeah, the single category that I've knit the most is shawls. And that is because most of my designs have been shawls. So that's quite a lot of shawls. So this year I've actually only knit 1 shawl that hasn't been my own design. And that's Solace by Janina Kallio of Woolenberry. And this year my yarn stash, which has been way too large, has shrunk down. I've pretty much limited my buying to projects that I'm casting on right away, like the Trista sweater, where I went out and bought the yarn and started it the same or the next day, I can't remember, but like right away. Or my winter seal, which I ordered the yarn for in, I think, January, cast on, and yeah, wore it in March. Or like buying from Yarny events like Edinburgh Yarn Fest or Jyväskylä Knit Fest. So in person, like, I can't really call it souvenir yarn, because how many souvenirs can you get from a yarn festival before it's something else than souvenir event? Yeah, buying in person at special events where I get to see and try yarns that my local yarn store doesn't carry. Yeah, and I also did a huge de-stash this summer where I think I sold almost 10 kilos of yarn. So now my yarn stash feels more manageable, and it only holds yarns that I can see myself knitting, like in the near future. I'm not gonna get to all of them in the near future, but I could, if you get what I mean. Yeah. And as to what my favorite knit this year has been, oh, I'm gonna nominate 2. One from my own designs, and then one from the things that I've knit from other people's patterns. So from my own designs, it's difficult to pick just one, because they all feel special to me. But if pressed, and I'm pressing myself now, I would say the Memory Keeper shawl. I just think that turned out really beautiful, and I'm really happy with it, and I use it a lot now that I started wearing my samples, and I'm really happy that I made that the decision to use them. in my everyday life and not just save them for possible trunk shows or whatever I was saving them for. They're bringing me so much joy now. Yeah, so the memory keeper shawl. And then from the other knits that I've done, again, quite difficult to choose because this year I think I've really made things that I've needed, so they're all like in use except for the summer tops. But yeah, I'm gonna pick the Winter Soul sweater by Jennifer Steingast that I knit in the early parts of this year for the Edinburgh Yarn Festival in March. I had a mini knit along for that with Maria of Tuscan Knits, and so we both knit the same sweater in different yarns, and then we wore it in Scotland while hiking in Isle of Skye. So that's one of the reasons it's my favorite sweater. It's those lovely memories that are associated with that piece, and also the pattern's really beautiful. I like the colors that I chose, which are actually quite similar, or if not the same as the pattern. And also it's knit with my favorite yarn, the same as the shawl that I'm knitting and the same that I've used here, so the Rerum Naturus Gilead. So all in all, it's just a win-win-win with that sweater. Everything speaks in its favor. So yeah, that was a quick review of my knitting year 2018. And I also really want to take this opportunity to thank you for being here and for your support, whether that means you're watching me here on YouTube, purchasing my patterns, or otherwise working together with me. It means a lot to me, and of course I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, so I'm really, really grateful and appreciative of your support, whatever form that support has come in. So thank you so much. I hope I get to keep you company in 2019 as well. Thank you so much for watching, for being there. I will see you soon again. Happy knitting. Bye.